Hello, everybody. This is Iggor Cavalera from Cavalera Conspiracy and Mixhell, and you guys are listening to Metal Wani.
Hey, brother, how are you doing?
All good, man.
Wow, so album number 3, Pandemonium, aka Fuck the Groove. Wasn't that
Yeah,
the title?
yeah. I think that was like Max's working title.
Uh-huh. But eventually it didn't work out. How close actually did he come to name the record as Fuck That Groove?
Yeah, it would, but I think it was too much.
Nonetheless, the album comes out next week via Napalm Records. So, how excited and nervous are you feeling for this release?
Actually, very excited. I have to say, especially coming with a new label, it's really cool to see the work that Napalm has put into this to make this record, happen.
Hmm.
So I think it's quite exciting. Not nervous at all because the album we've been done with the album for almost 1 year.
Right.
So it's more like, come on, put it out, more than anything else. So I think it's gonna be cool once the album is out, and then of course, all the fans can get familiar with the songs,
True.
and those things are more exciting to know, and also trying to prepare like a tour and things like that for the record. Those things are really top priority right now for us.
That's absolutely true. Now, how does it feel to be working with the family again?
Well, I think that's the most important thing. I came to a point in my life that I feel very lucky that I can work with my family in many different projects. Like I do Cavalera
Right.
with Max, I do Mixhell with my wife. So
Right.
those things for me are priceless. It's really really cool because I connect with them in different ways. I play different styles of music, and for me that's very special.
That's absolutely true. Now, the first two albums which came out, when the Cavalera came back into the picture and then you releases Inflicted and Blunt Force Trauma, were hard-hitting and very intense. But after listening to Pandemonium, one thing was pretty much clear to me that this is the most intense Cavalera album to date.
It
So,
is. I have to say, and also it's crazy because it was quite spontaneous. It
uh-huh.
really reflects the way me and Max are looking into music today. It's like how we wanted this album to sound, as far as like it's very fast, very aggressive,
Hmm.
and then again very different from the first two records. So
True.
we really are happy also with the production on how John Gray, the producer,
Right.
and more like an engineer, how he captured a lot of the live
The raw
elements.
feeling.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it feels like the band is playing rather than a collage of different instruments.
Absolutely true. I completely agree with that. And so this seems to be like a more natural approach than being a conscious effort.
Yeah, I think this album it really shows that in the sense that it was done in a very natural way.
Hmm.
The way me and Max prepared the songs, they're also very simple in the sense that we just went into the studio, played the tracks like live,
Right.
and then of course later on Max did some overdubs in guitars and the voice, and then Nate from Converge finally put the bass on the record, and the record was
Right. Some really crazy bass lines on this, especially on few tracks, which I was not expecting it to end that way, but it just blew my mind, and that was really great.
Yeah, I mean, Nate is such an amazing musician. Like that's one of the things. Like when me and Max we talk on who we wanted to play bass on this record, Nate's name came up because he does have this really different way of his bass sound. It has almost like sometimes like a Napalm Death kind of vibe to
Right,
it.
right.
Sometimes it has a different like vibe. And also he did some vocals with Max, which we really like the way he sings. So all of those combinations, I think, it make the record very special.
Absolutely true. Now, how did you feel about being pushed so hard to such a fast-paced, intense style on the song, for the album?
It was cool. I have to say that it was no struggle, like it was very natural in the way
Hmm.
that me and Max were pushing each other to do certain things in the record. And it was kind of like cool because we did the first three songs and there were three fast songs.
Right.
And then we just decided to keep going in that vibe. And then by the end, we realized that we had a super fast record, like
Hmm.
nothing we done in the Cavalera way
True.
for the first two albums. So it was quite cool, and surprising at the same time.
Absolutely true. And that aggression kind of reminded me of those early Sepultura days when you guys used to write these songs, and Max was like, Igor, fuck the groove, just keep it fast, isn't it?
Yeah, it had that, the atmosphere, but I also have to say that it needed to be in a natural, spontaneous way. That's
True.
why maybe it took two albums for us to get to this level of confidence where we can just go for it and really feels comfortable.
Absolutely true. Now, Mac's vocals, like you said, are sounding devastating in a most epic way and crazy as well. But along with Max, Rizzo, I have no words for that guy. Some face melting solos on the album, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he totally makes sense, in my opinion, to be part of this project because, of course, me and Max were very raw in the sense that the way we write the music, it's almost like very percussive,
Hmm.
not only the drums but the guitars and the vocals sometimes. So to have Rizzo come in with a little more melodic side to it, with the
Right.
leads and those things, I think they really add to have something cool with Cavalera. So he really fits the concept.
That's really true. And Deus Ex Machina, the song which is present towards the later part of the album, is it more like towards like something like God Machine, where something seems to be, some problem gets solved, abruptly without, any sort of an, involvement? It kind of looked a bit more like a plot-driven song to me, as a listener.
Yeah, I mean that's the crazy thing because that song we didn't wrote to be like a bonus track or anything like that.
Hmm.
It was just in the middle of the whole of everything that we were writing.
Uh-huh.
So it's really cool because that's another thing too. Like when we did the record, we just had everything, in one shot, and then later on, we let the label decide what would be a bonus track and things like that. So we treat it as any of the other tracks, but it does have a bit of industrial feel to it. Like it's
Right.
really cool.
That's absolutely true. And is there any bonus track on the album which is not present on the press kit?
Well, I think it is, all of them. I think Porra and those
Oh,
they're
they
the
seem to be the
songs that,
bonus tracks.
yeah, like they became like the bonus tracks later.
Oh, that's really cool. Now the artwork also it's a very different artwork compared to what a fan like me would generally expect from the Cavalera. But when I clearly noticed it, I mean this is my interpretation, it sounded like it depicts the problems in the world, more like a target is to aim to the Holy Trinity. That's why maybe Deus Ex Machina, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it has, but also it's cool to see that different people have different ways of looking at it, and that's quite cool in that sense.
How would Igor explain the artwork if I have asked you like what do you feel when you look at the artwork? How would you explain to a fan?
It's with that what we like to do, it was to bring back also that some of that vibe that we had on Arise
Hmm.
of having a lot of detail
Right.
that really represents the album itself, and it was something that brings us back to when you put a record on it and you look at the album cover and you kind of like go into this trip, and
Right.
that's what we wanted to do with this. And of course Stefan is such an amazing artist that it's also a personal friend, so when we call him to do the artwork, he was really into it, so it's a nice combination.
Absolutely. Now, seeing as your brother has raised what seemed to be like the metal version of the Partridge family, so I have to ask you if any of your children are showing an inclination towards music.
Yeah, I mean they all very musical, but they're not yet on the level that that Zion and Igor are, where
Right.
they already have a band and they already start like touring and things like that. But maybe in the future we will have more Cavaleras, involved in music. So I can definitely see that.
Oh, that's absolutely true. And what about your nephew Zion? I mean, is now drumming professionally for Soulfly now. So, how big of a factor do you think that you were in his decision to become a professional drummer?
I think it. Then again, I think it's very natural. Like he grew up watching me and Max playing since he was like 1 year old.
Hmm.
So it's like for him to pick up the drums. I think it's something that it's almost like in his DNA somehow.
All right.
So it's really cool to see that he's playing with Max. That's such an amazing thing, to do, to have a father and son on stage. It's really cool.
Absolutely true. Now, you and Max released the first Cavalier album in 2007, and then there was a fuss behind you guys. You've been not talking to each other for almost 10 years. Now, when you guys started working together, was there any tension or feeling that the relationship might once again deteriorate?
No, not really. Like that was the thing. We make sure that we were really good friends before we did any music. That was the main idea behind. Because
Right.
it was like once we had that settled, then we could write some music. But the most important thing it was for us to be friends in the first place.
That's absolutely true. Now, looking at how the Soulfly and both the Sepultura signed to Nuclear Blast together, so fans seem to be wondering: is there ever a chance that we see the Cavalera brothers and the basically the original lineup of Sepultura in future? Are there any chances?
I hope so, but there's nothing solid. The only solid thing right now it's what I do with Max.
Right.
And it's Cavalera Conspiracy. Like the whole Sepultura thing, it's something that we don't know if it's gonna happen or not. To be honest, I really hope one day we can do this in a very cool way.
Right. That would be a great day as a fan also to witness something which you guys started together. But while having a chat with Max earlier this year, he did tell me that you don't prefer to do long tours due to, let's say, some other commitments. So when we talk about Pandemonium, what's your plan for touring? I mean, what sort of countries would you prefer to play, or was it going to be a short tour followed by short tour? It's going to be one long stretch.
Well, we're gonna try to make it both work. Of course, we can't tour like we used to, in the Arise days when we did like 200 shows in 1 year.
Right.
But we do gonna have to try to do more so we can play more places and play more countries. So hopefully we can do that on this run for the new record.
True. That sounds really great. And along, like we said earlier, that you have another family-oriented project going on in the way of Mixhell with your wife, Lima. So, what can you tell us about how that project came about and what is on the horizon for that extremely interesting project?
Well, actually, it totally happened by accident. Once I left Sepultura, I started getting more interested in the electronic music, and then Lima joined me for this.
Hmm.
And we've been doing this for a long time also. So it's we also releasing some music through the end of the year next year. So it looks pretty busy for both, also for Mixhell and Cavalera with lots of releases.
Right, that sounds really cool. And you're a DJ as well. So how do it's quite a bit different field altogether, looking at how being a metal drummer and then you're a DJ with the all, the electronic music. So do you kind of feel sometimes that you can have that tinge of electronic into the Cavalera music or maybe with some other project?
I think that's why it works, because by the fact that I have Mixhell, I can do certain things and save certain things for Cavalera. So it's cool to have more than one project so you can focus in different ways and work with different people. So I can also like shift from playing super crazy fast things to more something more electronic with a different pace to it. So I
Right.
love those two things.
Now that's really cool. Now, as an experienced touring musician and founding member of what was, and I mean was arguably one of the most important bands in extreme metal history, what advice would you give to any young aspiring drummers out here?
I think that the most important thing that I learned very early, it was not to be too concerned about the technical side of it. Because the technical, I think, it comes with time. The more you play, the more you practice, that comes naturally somehow.
Hmm.
So if you don't rush that and you really enjoy yourself as a musician, as a drummer, and then I think you have more fun and you have more feeling to the drums.
Right.
Some people, they try too hard to be technical and they have to be too fast or do all this crazy stuff, and then they end up losing the feeling of playing drums, which is a lot of fun, you know. So I think
Absolutely.
that's my main advice, I think,
Advice.
for a young drummer. It's really to enjoy yourself, and all the technical parts, they're gonna come, you know, naturally. The more you play, the more you enjoy yourself, you're gonna get better, you know.
Absolutely. Now, Igor, what about India? Any plans of coming over here? You have no idea how many Max and Igor fans are here in India waiting for you guys to come and play.
Yeah, man, I hope we can do this, you know, for this new record. There's plans of like a mess, like I said, a more extensive tour. So I hope India is part of it, you know, because it definitely a place that me and Max we would love to go.
And plus, Max, and your grandmother as well wanted to visit India, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, my mom is really into it, you know.
Yeah, Max did tell me, earlier this year that he
Yeah,
definitely wants.
yeah, it's our dream like to bring her with us because she's really into the culture.
Oh, that's really cool, Igor. Before I end the interview, I'll basically put a simple question for you to define pandemonium in just one sentence.
I think it's brutal. Brutal is the word that represents this record. It's like a brutal record that, you know, with lots of energy. That's how I put it.
Bingo. Igor, thank you very much once again for doing this interview. I wish you good luck with the album sales and the tours, and I look forward to see some more devastation from Cavalera Brothers.
All right, thank you very much, brother.